for the prayer and the pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this opportunity that we can come here and try to take care of the needs of the parish. We ask you now that you bless us and guide us so that we'll make the right decisions. Please be with those who are sick. Please be with those who have lost members of their family. Please guide, guard, and direct us in everything we do. In your Son's name, amen.
Amen.
Follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I don't have no report. Do you have a report?
I do not.
And I'll turn it over to call for any additions and deletions to the administrative committee. I have one, and that is to authorize the president to sign a resolution authorizing the commitment of funds for year 24 to 25 LCDBG application. This is for our grants that we are applying for from the state for the road improvements.
Read that again, Mr. Baker, if you don't mind.
Say what?
So read that again.
Authorize.
Never mind, you already got it. I see it.
You got it there?
I see it, yeah.
So I'll make that motion if somebody.
Oh, second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, a roll call vote. Mr. Ernell?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion's been voted upon and has passed. It'll be added to the administrative, be number 4. Mr. Holmes?
All right, any guest and public comments? All right, if not, administrative items. Item number 1, adopt the 2024-2025 operating budget for the DeSoto Parish Sales and Use Tax Commission.
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Ernell Jones. Any discussion? Anybody here that wants to talk about that from the Tax Commission? I guess not. I was just looking at the Grand Cane, where everything else is not going to much of anything. Did the Village of Grand Cane vote in a new tax or what? Theirs is going to increase by 11.7%. Pretty good. All right, no more discussion, we'll vote. Motion passed. Item number 2, authorize the president sign a corporate endeavor agreement with the Village of South Mansfield for reflective stop signs and a chlorine shack for the sewage system. And this is Miss Tina,
Yes.
Trina Boyd's, Simpson's ARPA funds.
So moved.
And I have a motion by Miss Simpson, second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Clark. Any discussion? If none, vote. All right, motion passed. Item number 3, authorize the president sign the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Hear a motion?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Baker, any second? A second.
What's the,
I beg your pardon?
did somebody elaborate on what that is?
What is this? Do you know, Mr. Baker, exactly what this is?
Was,
It is agreement between about 3 or 4 different parishes for it's a multi-jurisdictional agreement to carry out programs and activities as authorized by public law, which is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act as passed by the U.S. Congress.
You know about
It was in the packet. It is.
No more discussion, vote on that. It's a grant program, isn't it, Mr. Baker?
yes,
I mean, it doesn't cost us anything.
correct.
All right, motion passed. Item number 4, authorize the president to sign a resolution authorizing the commitment of funds for fiscal year 24-25 LCDBG application. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Baker? All right. Second?
Second,
Second, Mr. Simpson? Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all need- Yeah,
This is for the Bird Streets up at Stonewall. That's what that project is. This was the one that we made it to step 2 just a few weeks ago.
okay.
So they're asking us to make sure we have those funds committed if we get picked for this grant. The grant maximum is $1 million.
for what street?
The Bird Streets in Stonewall, which,
They're up there off of Linwood, I think.
yes, they're off of Linwood, Whippoorwill,
Whippoorwill.
Dove, and Quill.
This is the project that we lost out on last year because it did not get advertised in the newspaper.
Correct.
Oh,
And
oh,
so it's
that's the
coming back
one.
up again this year.
Okay, that's the one that newspaper, mister.
Yes.
I think that was Mr. Rowe's district at the time. I don't know if it still is that same district.
It's still the
Okay.
same district.
Is it still in the same district or is yours?
This is to cover the match. You know, they'll put the grant,
Right.
we have to put our portion up for the match.
Sleepy Hollow?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow, yeah, that's by,
That's yours now?
yeah.
Okay. All right, any more discussion? If not, vote. And motion passed. Hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fuller, second. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Next is Budget and Finance Committee. I'll call the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Call for any additions or deletions to the agenda. Hearing none, any guest or public comment? Hearing none. Budget and Finance item, authorize the purchase of construction and, this is not worded right.
Yeah, it is.
Purchase of construction.
Purchase of property for the construction of.
Yeah, there's a word missing there. Authorize the purchase of property for the construction of a new compactor site in the town of Stonewall.
Make the motion.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Have a motion in the second, discussion?
I'm looking at the appraisal value on the second page. So for one, so that's 55,000, that's saying per acre, right? With a
Yes.
302, and then the other is asking a little bit higher, 68, 181, 375. So these are the funds that we will be putting up for this property, for this compactor site.
Yes, ma'am. And You have a third one on the next page.
Okay, that's what I'm, okay.
That's three options, so we'll be selecting one of these three. Just funding one of the three.
Okay, Wes. Okay, well, this is 4%, 63,000. So the second one is 4 acres, 4.075, which came in less than the other two. Where's
I
Pine
would,
Grove? Pine Grove.
Pine Grove or
Yes,
Pine,
sir.
yes.
It's
that's-
off of, it's off
3276.
3276.
Okay,
It runs south. Yes,
I would like to say that, location number 2, that's on, Mansfield Road. From what I've understood, that owner of that property is not really committed all the way to selling.
correct.
Okay.
And also, he wants, his asking price, which is a good bit more than
yes.
the appraisal price. So I would say scratch location number 2 right off the bat, because, he's wanting,
He won quite a bit.
he doesn't want to come off the price, and, he hasn't really come all the way out as a commitment to that.
5 acres.
What?
And plus, there's a lot of other work that would have to be done to that site to make it feasible.
Yes.
Can I ask this? I have no problem with the compactor site moving off that corner, cause I do agree it does need to move. My problem I'm having with it, why would we need 5 acres of land for a compactor site? Y'all already got one on Linwood, Bryson right up the road. And we gonna do 5 acres for, I got a problem with that, I'm sorry. I do.
That's quite a bit.
I mean, I could see 2-3 acres, but 5, I mean, that's nearly big as the landfill.
Do we have any land, any compactor sites that's sitting on at least 5.5? I don't think we do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mike looks like he wants to.
So my question, I'm kind of with Ms. Burrell, what's the point of, is this just a roundabout amount of acres that we're looking at? This is not anything that's permanent, because I'm like her, are we creating a parking lot on the park?
You know what
I mean, I'm
saying?
just asking.
Y'all are correct. We do not need 5 acres to build a compactor site. But if you look at, the attachment 1, page 1, the location on Stanley, you'll see it's situated between a residential property and an oil well site. That developer that's offering us that piece of land, it's a geographic location that he wants to commit the whole thing to us. You know, if we're gonna make that a site, he don't wanna have to try to sell a home in that section between the oil well pad and the compactor site. And that's a similar situation with what you have on Pine Grove as well. It's actually a little smaller acreage footprint. You can see the actual paved area that I drew on your depiction there, it's only 3.15 acres is what's modeled for the compactor site, which is, you know, probably larger than most of the locations we currently have. So that'll allow for possibly 4 compactors, as well as 5 to 6 open tops to be on that location and have plenty of room to
And we
to
currently
stage traffic.
we currently have how many?
You currently have 2 compactors on the Stonewall site.
So we double the compactors on the
Right.
site, so.
Right.
So my question is, okay, because my mind is going back to my compactor site in South Mansfield.
Mm-hmm, we
And
plenty room.
I know it's not on an acre. It may even be a fourth of I'm not for sure, that's when you get into the math. But, so you're saying that how many people are you expecting this compactor site at this 3.15 acres? I mean, are we expanding the use? Are we closing some others to accommodate this?
You know, it's hard to predict the future, exactly what will happen with future trash service in Stonewall as it continues to grow. But I think you definitely I think on Saturdays, you have a line coming out the front gate, from what I understand now, as it sits. So we'd want to allow some staging room as well as the additional capacity for the compactors. One of the problems that, and Josh might could speak to this more than I can, is, you know, they can't service the compactors fast enough, the turnover, to get, you know, a empty bin up there and get it turned around. So having the 4 gives the capacity for that as well. If you have one that fills up, you can move on to the next and have some, you know, these holidays are so busy the next day and things like that, have some additional capacity for the trash as well.
So I'm looking at it like a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come, kind of set. But you're planning for that wiggle room, as you say, for the growth in the area.
This is planning for but roughly a 3-acre compactor site. And like you see on Stanley Road, we can either use those additional acres for some other parish function, or we can market them to sell after we purchase them. That'd be up to us to decide after that, or up to you to decide after that. The Pine Grove location has a much smaller remainder of a lot.
I'm looking at the Pine, I'm looking at the Pine Grove.
Yeah. Pine Grove, you have a total of,
Oh, wait a minute, I thought this was Pine Grove.
No, that's Stanley.
Oh, well, let me keep
See,
turning.
that's Stanley Road, Pine Grove.
Pine Grove has
I don't have a hand for,
Pine Grove's 4 acres, and we're at 3.1 acres for the site, so you have less than an acre that's remaining there, as a remainder there.
The main 3276, and it should.
Mr. Holmes?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, you're talking about how much property we're getting, and like Mr. Rister said, it's hard to predict the future.
True.
But we're using, we're losing the compactor site in Stonewall now on the corner of 171 and 3276 because they don't want to lease it back again. They want to sell that property. But also the compactor site on Linwood is also leased property.
Okay.
So we could also be facing that in the future. Those people want to sell that property, you know, for other means, and we could end up losing that also. So if we did have this one here and this much property,
Accommodate.
we could possibly, you know, increase the volume there to cover 2 compactor sites.
I don't want to go on woulda, shoulda, coulda, if'll.
I'm gonna tell you,
We,
more than likely,
my thing.
the future's
If we
coming
gon-
that we're gonna lose the lease on most any of those compactor sites up there if we don't own the property, because they're gonna all eventually wanna sell that property.
okay, this another concern I had. We talking about this kind of money just for the property. Okay, I know y'all done talked about it, and I know you done already wrote it up. How much the bill gonna be? How much this compactor site finna cost the taxpayer? A total. I'm talking about putting the bins, the whole. I want to see that figure.
I would not be surprised if it's another $250,000, you know.
That's what I
mean,
figured.
but, I mean, the part I have not looked into is the cost of actual equipment, you know, the compactors, the bins and so forth like that. You know, I can model the asphalt and so forth, but I hadn't, the actual equipment we need. Of course, we have some of that on hand. We'd move it from the Stonewall site down to the new site, so it wouldn't be purchasing new, it'd be just transferring it to the new site. So we'd have to look into we have not put together a cost estimate on construction, you know, but I would imagine we'd spend, you know, several $100,000 to construct the site. You know, put new fencing, you know, make it where it's presentable to the public, where it's not gonna be an eyesore, and then all the new equipment for the trash services itself.
I have a couple of questions. How much are the lease, how long are the leases that we have on these?
It's up.
So-
It's up.
On the Linwood too?
So how long, the land in Froston, do we own it?
Sir?
The compactor site in Froston, do we own that land or we're leasing?
I think so. I think we own that one.
On that. And now, my thing is, now, I have 2 questions, like I say, first of all, I don't think we passed our 90 days for it to be on the agenda again. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. The other thing is, Froston site has plenty of room out there to ask, people, but you have to drive a little further. Everybody don't have to go to Stonewall, that lives in Stonewall. Because everybody's compactor site is not in their backyard. So, you know, Froston has a pretty big spot there that some more containers can go over there on that spot. That would help take away some of the congestion up there in Stonewall. Linwood, I'm quite sure can do the same. And like I said, I don't have a problem with if the lease is up, I understand that. I don't have a problem when it come back to site, but like I said, paying this kind of money for that many acres, I'm just being real, I'm not for that. I can't see it.
But the one, this one is,
We're gonna close down
two
compactor
hundred
site.
and 60,000, just.
The only reason that I know of that we're buying 3, 4, 5 acres, that's all that's available. That's all we have been able to find that somebody will sell us that's in a decent location. I'm in agreement, we don't need no more than 2 or 3 acres. But
Exactly.
that's
I'm
just the
for
way that
that.
they're selling it. And so if we wanna get it, that's what we're gonna have to buy.
Okay.
We have, since the last meeting that this was brought up, we've looked at about 4 other pieces of property to try to get some kind of deal working. We haven't been able to. There's been another one on 171 that we looked at. We can't get that to work, or if we do get it to work, it's gonna cost us more money.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Baker? Are
Yes.
we past the 90 days yet for it to come up?
There was no,
It was voted in the last meeting, last time it was brought up, to put it off until after the election. It was not defeated or anything like
Understand,
that.
anything, something, it was
no,
Deferred.
thought it
until-
was
deferred.
It
It was deferred till
until
the-
deferred, okay.
Till after the elections to see if the tax passed or not. That's what's happened.
So you have 3 sites to choose from.
No, we're,
Somebody wants to make a motion to go forward with one site, we'll take it. If not, go.
I'll make the motion to purchase the property on Pine Grove for $280,000.
208, I thought it was 260.
it's two,
Oh, is it 280 or 260? 280.
You're correct, 280, that's the asking price.
can we find out when the Linwood lease is up?
We can, I don't have it with me right now, but I can find that
It's
out.
probably, that least, me just guessing with how long it's been there.
It's already
That
up
compactor site's been there since,
last year.
Oh, it's already up? Oh,
Yes, ma'am, and we haven't been able to get, contact to renew it. It was up in, end of 2023.
what's the distance between the Linwood and the Stonewall?
At least,
between Linwood and Stonewall, it's 7 miles.
So if we are unable to re-sign the Linwood, so those individuals that's going to the Linwood could in turn, in fact,
well, the Linwood dump has 1 compactor and has maybe 2 or 3 bins. And the one that we have, the one we have now,
okay.
I mean, 'cause 5 acres, we gonna need some
the
more
Frierson
employees
site has
too,
to be
right?
at least 10 miles from Stonewall.
Where we Josh?
At least 10 miles from Stonewall. Yeah.
No, you're talking about the Linwood though, I thought.
Well, he's talking about the Frierson over there by the relay station. That's at least 10 miles.
Okay, I'm making sure now, don't come back later on saying we need
That's at least
some.
10 miles.
There was a study done a while back, there's a map hanging on the office or the wall in my office, and, of, basically drew a travel distance for each compactor site, and that's what,
Okay.
y'all, I think in the past, y'all have tried to locate these compactor sites where you have them regionally, where no one's driving an extended period of time.
Okay.
Of course, on the southern end of the district, that's where we stretch the limits. On the northern end, we have some, some
Yeah,
closer distances, but you'd be exceeding that going from Stonewall to Frierson. If you were to eliminate that Stonewall site, you'd still be exceeding that circle, that radius that we tried to limit all the compactor sites to.
okay.
From Stonewall to Friday, it ain't gonna be no forward from Rammond to Pelican. I'm from down there, I know. It ain't gonna be a bit further, them people drive from Rammond to
Well,
Pelican.
The reason why this site is gonna be built the size in which it is because more trash is collected at that site than any other
I'm
site.
talking about them people down there.
More volume of trash comes in and out of the Stonewall compactor site than any other site in the parish.
Behind me,
Huh?
behind Logansport.
Behind South
South
Mansfield.
Mansfield.
But it's 3 times as much in South
Okay.
Mansfield. 3 times as much trash goes through Stonewall
Okay.
as the second most produced compactor site, which is South Mansfield.
So we have a motion and a second.
Don't have a second yet, I don't
Yes,
think.
you have a motion.
Not yet.
Then I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion and a second.
Y'all please
Get it
vote now.
down. I think we need to negotiate with these people some more. That's too much.
Motion passes. Authorize hiring the services of a dietitian as required by the Department of Corrections and amend the budget in the amount of $17,500.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second by Richard Fuller. Any discussion? If not, y'all please vote now. Motion passes. Motion to adjourn.
I move.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, we're adjourned.
Can I ask some of y'all something, 'cause I'm confused. Is this committee meeting or is this actual meeting?
Committee.
There's a special meeting at the end, but this is just
Committee.
regular committee meeting.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Buildings and property,
Call the Building and Property Committee to order. Call for additions and deletions. Being none. Guest and public comments. I know Ms. Miller is here to speak to us. Ms. Miller, would you come forward, state your name, please?
Good afternoon. I'm Charlotte Canotek. I got married. Keith knows
I'm
that,
sorry.
but it's hard to remember that name, and that's okay. The reason I'm on this agenda, I was late getting on here, and I apologize for that. And it could have probably waited till the June meeting, but because of the number 4, the Parks and Recreational item, so I'm kind of combining two things to talk about. I gave a pack, I hope in your packet, you got a little, just a report. I'm a visual person. If you're not, that's okay. I'm not gonna read you. I don't like to be read to. But some of y'all, the new members may not know how the DeSoto Parish Tourism Commission operates or receives its money. So in the back of that packet, it tells you that. And I wanted to kind of give you the State of the Union. There's also in your packet an occupancy tax report from January of 2018 to, I got March report today, and that's why it's written in, March to, from 2018 to 2024. That shows you what we operate on from occupancy taxes collected in our hotels. If you, and I want you to make a note of March, look at the difference between January, February, and March, and I want to come back to that thought when we talk later. The next report is from the state, the Louisiana Office of Travel, and it is a report. I highlighted DeSoto in yellow, and I chose Sabine, a parish similar to us, in orange to compare numbers. The only difference, Sabine is about double our budget. They've got quite a bit bigger budget than we do. In the first column, it talks about the state taxes, direct and state and local tax revenue by parish, and you can see those numbers. And you can see that our, ours is a lot higher, and the reasons for that, some of y'all before, this is previous, we got COVID money at the end of 2021 in the form of a Tourism Recovery Act. That money has to be spent by the end of this year, or earmarked for projects that have to be completed by 2026. And that is why those numbers are higher in that 2021, 2022. We also got enterprise state monies in 2019 that had not been collected over a long period of time. And so that money is also in there. So this is gonna look very similar till 2023, and then 2024, those numbers are probably gonna be much, much smaller as far as state taxes and revenue coming in. And your local taxes, that's how much you got. And if you look and compare Sabine, we're getting a lot more local taxes from our tourism industry occupancy tax than Sabine does, which that's amazing because Sabine has Wildwood Resort, they have Cypress Bend Resort, and they have tons of bed and breakfasts and a lot of Airbnbs. So those numbers right there, y'all, if you can find a hotel person to come to the parish, those are very convincing numbers that DeSoto could support another hotel in our parish somewhere. Just comparing the two parishes, that's something you could use to promote, getting a hotel here. If you look on the next form, direct spending, earnings, and employment in the parish, our spending is up because of the reasons I talked about. The spending will not be like that in 2024, possibly in 2023, but look at the earnings compared to Sabine. They're a little bit more, but I want y'all to look at the employment. In the tourism industry, we employ more people in tourism-related fields than Sabine does. So when we talk about giving money to fund things, we need to think about tourism as an economic driver and an employer for DeSoto Parish residents and the people surrounding us. So just wanted to share those three things with you. Marketing is one of those arts, you don't know if it's working until you see real numbers, and I think what we're doing right now is working. We may not can afford the marketing right now because we put a ton of money in advertising and marketing, but right now we're working and we're trying to find the most effective ways to market at the lowest prices. I wanted to say this. I started working at the Tourist Bureau, Tourist Commission, June 5th, and since then, I've concentrated on some of the recommendations and I have a copy of this if any of y'all want to look at it. A strategic plan for the Tourism Commission was made, and it was for the years 2020 to 2023, and it was commissioned by our Tourist Board in 2019. One of the recommendations that took most of the first year on my job was parish-wide signage. These people from all over Louisiana in the tourism industry, it was 6 or 7, they came and pointed out we had very little signage so that when a visitor comes, they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know the story behind it. They don't know what they're looking at when they come into our towns. So I'm happy to report the creative has been turned in to a Bossier Sign Company, and they should be placing signage in Mansfield, Logansport, Grand Cane, Keachai, and at the Mansfield Female College in 6 to 8 weeks, or hopefully by the end of the summer. A sign for Rock Chapel was designed and completed, but I didn't send it to Bossier Sign Company because the local priest would not give me permission to put it on the site. They do not want, there was vandalism at Rock Chapel, which is very sad because I get calls all the time for people wanting to see Rock Chapel, and I think someone else might have fallen and tried to sue the diocese. So they have kind of shut Rock Chapel down, which is really a loss from a tourism point of view for our parish and also for the Catholic Church here, I think. The Tourist Commission has also created, with the help of our media consultant, Iris Harper, an email database we use to send out a monthly e-newsletter. I think most of y'all are on it. I try to get your emails for that. That database, we just started in January, and we already have 711 people in that database. So in 4 months, we're hitting 711 people that we may have not hit before. And we can use these email addresses. They're in a constant contact database to send out notifications of special events, accommodations, or dining opportunities, or whatever we need to do that. Right now, I'm working with a group from the Louisiana Travel Leadership Academy to create a strategic plan for marketing the best tourism assets in the parish. It's it's sort of a micro, little mini version of what we did, the strategic plan in 22 and 23 that cost $11,000. I did not spend that on that. I put them up in a Cook Hill for 2 days and fed them maybe 2 times. And so we'll be getting, I think, a little bit more bang for your buck because they're not professionals, but they're all in tourism and they're in the LTLA Academy that I'm currently in. I hope to have a presentation. We have to have that in November. We have to show that in front of our mentors, and I hope to be able to show y'all that maybe at the beginning of 2025. So one of the themes of the Tourism Strategic Plan book, and y'all can tell it's ended in 2023, so we're still working on parts of that, but we're still creating the future. And the need, they continue to, and everyone says is to create opportunities for visitors to put heads in beds, to increase occupancy tax, and more revenue for the parish. Our board has heard ideas as unique as a swamp tour at Clear Lake to a testicle festival in conjunction with the Bayou Blitz livestock show at the 4-H barn. In our opinion, any idea has merit until it doesn't. We are in discussions now with several developers who are actively trying to bring attractions to our parish that encourage overnight visitors, and I'll be glad to discuss those projects with you at another time to save your time tonight. Finally, I respectfully ask, and I didn't realize that, and I hate, and now that I've been here and y'all have bigger fish to fry like trash compactors, that's to me, but I do respectfully ask the police jury to carefully consider the plan to develop a sports complex at the industrial park. Sports tourism is a huge economic driver in our state, a large employer of our population, and a quality of life issue for our parish residents. I have attached in your packet the cards of 2 gentlemen who work under Lieutenant Nungesser in sports tourism. And he just took that over. They're the gentlemen that vote, I mean, they go and like bid on things. They're involved in getting the Super Bowl, things like that, but also smaller venues like us. And what they told me, I've had the pleasure of meeting both of them, and they said, if you have land and water, I can get an event to your parish. And we all may have to work together and think outside the box, not just think about softball and baseball fields. These 2 gentlemen would be good consultants to find out what we need to produce the most bang for our buck. Personally, I think there is a compromise somewhere so that funds could service the local population, but also bring money to the parish in terms of tournament fees, whether that is soccer, lacrosse, kickball, et cetera, not just softball and baseball. In addition to tournament fees, occupancy taxes from overnight stays from weekend tournaments, sales tax revenue from dining and gas also needs to be considered. I appreciate your time tonight. I've attached my card, and if you want to contact me about anything I've discussed tonight, you've got my card. And I'm right, I'm in the chamber office. I share an office with the chamber. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Short.
Any questions?
Any questions? I do want to tell y'all this. There is another thing that's kind of come up, and I can't say a bunch. I think some of y'all know about the Christmas, the opening of Lumiere. It's a Christmas venue in Stonewall that we're kind of talking to a gentleman about that. We're talking to a landowner, O&E Defense. It's a run and gun competition. And it's only in Texas right now, but they're trying to branch out into Louisiana. And I have a landowner in Grand Cane that's talking to these gentlemen. They bring about 250 people, contestants that they run and gun. Literally, that's what they do. They run and they shoot. And it's long range, short range. It's not always military people, but some of the military, and they use it as certification. The gentleman, they're supposed to come in the weekend of the 16th, 17th, 18th to look at the land to see if it's available. The only other, they've had one other person contacting them down south in Houma or near New Orleans, and the way that land is, to me, a swampy area, running and gunning is not going to be. So we might potentially could get that. And I've always wanted, if we don't have a festival, we need something big like that 250 people every year that come every year would make a huge difference. And, you know, it's like having a huge festival, but it's almost like having a marathon, you know, that you can count on every year. If you do it right, they will come back and it will get bigger. So, but those are some of the things that we're working on. And so if y'all have any questions or anything, don't know if that will come through, but hey, you still have to dream and you still have to plan, and
Yep.
that's what we have to do. Thank you.
Let me ask you something before you
Yes,
go.
sir.
The movie industry, you know, DeSoto Parish and Mansfield
Right,
has some pretty major films filmed here.
right, great
And I think
debaters.
that was which?
Salem.
Salem, right.
Yes, sir.
That was in Grand Canyon, right?
Yes, sir. I think that stopped because Arlene, remember, the state legislator took away the tax credits for filming in the state of Louisiana. And so that is what killed all over Louisiana, not just DeSoto, but pretty much.
Okay.
That was the incentive to get the filming industry in the state.
But still, that might be a good site, you know,
Yeah.
for people who are traveling around to look at.
To make it like a movie set
Right.
tour.
Right.
Got
And
it.
even, remember The Great Debaters? Did you ever see that movie, Brenda?
Yes, I did. I just recently
Denzel
watched it.
Washington? And then you see the site, I mean, the excitement when you're looking at the movie, you see the area, oh, that's
Right.
the area in Mansfield.
Right.
But I didn't realize there was a whole lot of them, area
Hi.
filmed in Mr. Holmes' district.
Right,
Yeah.
in the
So-
and it doesn't even, it's really the antique adoption house now, but the house looks nothing like it did in the movie
movie,
now.
yeah.
She's changed it so much.
But, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
that may be some.
And I think the
Oh.
state, though, the people that are working on the African American Museum, they are that's kind of in their head about like a movie tour, because they've mentioned that.
Right.
So they're doing like little tours like that for people that have a specific interest.
Right.
So, and we're still working on the African American Trail. I talked to Travis today about a different location, and because y'all's two Rosenwald schools here are very, very important and historical. And if we can pull all that together, having three things like that on the African American Trail, that would pull it. They're redoing the whole African American Trail for Louisiana. They wiped off everything, and everyone has to come back and reapply. So we're behind, but I mean, if you do that, we can still work on it and reapply, and they'll add to it later. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments? We'll go to item 1 on building property. Amend the jail budget capital for the upgrade of cameras at the detention center in the amount of $97,000. That's a state contract.
Second.
Got a motion made by Richard Fuller and seconded by Arnell Jones. Any discussion? Being no discussion, vote now. Passes. Item 2, update on the DeSoto Parish Media Center. Anybody know what's going
Yeah,
on?
I wanted to update, cause it's been a good while back. We were supposed to get Mr.
Excuse me,
So we get a motion
motion
on-
to discuss.
Oh, okay.
I so move.
Motion made by
Second.
Richard,
Okay.
second by Arnell. Go ahead, Ms. Correll.
If you all remember a while back, I asked about the property on Oxford Road. And, Mr. Norton was supposed to be looking into that. To consider us purchasing for the employees here. Cause I wanna get these people up out this little building. It just saddens me every time I come through that back door and walk down that hall and see 3 different people in one little room, and that, we need to do better, y'all. We need to do something. We need to do something for these employees, cause that's asking a lot. I mean, they just crammed up together. I mean, they can't even do the 6 feet distance if they needed to. They couldn't. And, nobody never came back and reported or told us anything, so I wanted to update on that property. Or did he ever go talk to the superintendent or see, cause that would be a good building for us to purchase. And it would really relieve some of this congestion. Give me something, some kind of plan to get these people up out of here. Whether it's that building or whatever building, we need to be doing something. We need to take it serious.
Mr. Parker, can we ask the administrator to give us a report on that at next meeting, or? Oh, there is
Just
a
have
report?
an update,
Go ahead.
yes. He did make contact with the school board. Probably about a week or so ago, they got an email from them, and he's been trying to get in contact and get some information going. We finally had an answer last week. The property does has asbestos, so that would have to, be remediation done to get rid of that. The roof needs replacement. There's no appraisal that has been done by the school board yet to see what the value of that property is. However, we are looking for repairs and all that in the figure of about $500,000. Just if we were to buy it, like I said, there's no appraisal yet of how much that would be, but the cost of replacing the roof and getting the remediation done for the asbestos, you're looking at about $500,000. Originally, the plan that Mr. Norton has envisioned was that once the new jail was built, we could move into the front offices of the sheriff's department. So, but like I said, he let Mr. Rain know all this information last week. He's not here, but he had all that information sent to him for him to report to y'all. But that's, like I said, we're looking at about $500,000 to fix the building itself. And then not knowing what the appraisal would be of how much the value is to buy the property.
Okay, well, is the sheriff department gonna have enough space to accommodate all these employees in this office?
I would think so.
I don't know.
I think
I would say, they were in the building, so why would it cost $500,000 to fix them? They were in there using.
What?
Did you just say it would cost $500,000 to fix it?
Correct. It needs a new roof, and then the building itself has asbestos that has to be abated first.
So they've been in that time all that while, they know it has asbestos. That's kind of strange, but.
It's a whole lot different if you're in it or if it changes hands.
It makes a big difference.
Once it changes hands, it's got to be fixed.
Yeah, and like I said, the roof itself, we know that has to be replaced because they do have some issues with the roof. And you're looking at a roof like that, at least just from the 4-H building, at least $300,000.
Mr. Norton can't make no decision where if we gonna move in the old jail or not. It's a lot of problems over there too.
I understand, ma'am, but you just asked just now what we would propose as far as you asked for an update, and that's what I'm saying. That's what he envisioned to bring to the table once that the jail was built. As far as when you're asking for a solution of moving the employees here, that we're in limited space right now. So I was just answering that, but we're not making any decisions on that.
Okay, I'm just saying, cause you said that was what he envisioned. Well, I envisioned a lot of stuff, but don't mean I.
Correct. Well, with your approval.
My envision is to move maintenance in this building, cause they need to come out of that building, which is full of asbestos. And we need to do something for our employees, cause it's full of asbestos.
I was just gonna say that we've discussed that in this meeting in the last year or two, several months, that when the sheriff finally gets moved out, that would be where we would possibly move our offices, would be into that building. So I know it's been discussed, and
Yeah, it been discussed, Ms. Holmes, before you got here. That was my idea. That's the first idea I came
Well,
with, was
that was a
moving
good
over
idea.
in that building. Then I came up with the one with the old bank. I tried to get them to get that building. So we need to discuss 2, 3 different things, which that'll be a good building, too. Up here where the bank was, that'll be an excellent building to move everybody. I done went and took the whole tour over there. So, where the old, what it was, what the bank was?
Capital One.
Capital One
yeah.
was. So we got a couple options.
Well, I've toured the sheriff's office, part of the jail over here. And there is plenty of room for all of this office and a couple of more other offices to move into that building. There's way more room over there than meets your eye, because most people never get past the foyer and the going in and paying your taxes and stuff. The other side of the building to the right as you go in, there is offices all through there. Well,
Need to go through that then.
Oh, I
I
done
need to
been
go
through the
through
whole
that then.
jail a
You know,
bunch of
so
times.
there's plenty of room in the existing jail if we build a new jail. We'll have problems with that building. There's things over there that will have to be fixed. And I don't know whether it has any kind of asbestos in it that would have to be abated or not. I'm sure it probably does.
Being old as it is, it will.
Most any building
Right.
that's very old, the glue that they use to put tile down contains asbestos. If it's black when you peel up a piece of tile, you've got asbestos.
Yep.
So that's maybe a problem there too, and I know we have some plumbing situations over there.
Exactly.
So
I just want us to make a
it,
move.
it's just, basically, we're just getting an update on the media center. I know the media center has problems, and it would cost us, I'm gonna say $500,000 plus anyway, to move into the media center, from what I've been informed of, Ms. Burrell. So, basically, this is something I think we're gonna have to consider, at a later date, which I'm sure won't be too much later.
Okay.
But, so I'm just suggesting that we, end our discussion here tonight, and,
Yeah, I'm just want us to just,
Right.
I'm just tired of being stagnated. We talk about this stuff, we discuss it, and we never move on it. We not doing nothing. We got to get to a point where
I would like for, a motion to be made that,
I'll make it.
we discussed it. And I'll just say next month. I've got the
make it.
motion from Mr. Latham, if I can get another member to second it. And I'll second it myself. So we've got a motion made and seconded to defer this to next
I'ma
month's
make a
meeting. then.
motion.
All in favor, we'll just do a roll call vote. I'll just start with Mr. Fuller. Mr. Jones. Mr. Latham.
Aye.
And myself is aye. So we will defer this until next month. Number 3, discuss and take action on purchasing the property located next to the register office for the appraised value. I have a motion. Going once, going twice, it's gone. No action. Parks and recreational items. Discuss plans on developing a sports complex at the industrial park at the airport.
So move.
Motion made by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Ernell Jones. We're open for discussion.
That's the item, I put that on the agenda too. That's one of the items, another item that I'm talking about, that we have discussed time and time again, but no actions has ever been taken. We hadn't made not one move to make it happen. We spent all that money to draw up plans, good set of plans, but yet we stagnated. We not moving. I want to see some of this stuff come to reality. That's right. And it's gonna bring economic development. We like I say, it's been discussed time and time again. So I want to see this move forward. And I appreciate if somebody make a motion for us to move it forward. Cause, we can't be stagnant, keep
This is
being
discussing right
stagnated.
now.
Mr. Holmes?
I know, we'd like to move it forward and all, but I would like to know how we're gonna fund this. You know, I really feel like we need to come up with funding, a way to fund it, before we start discussing it a lot. I mean, we can discuss it, but we can never pull the trigger and do anything until we decide how we're gonna pay for it. And as of now, I don't know of any way we can pay for it. So I really think we need to discuss paying for it and get a way to pay for it before we actually discuss doing it.
Okay, I knew that was gonna be
Mr.
said.
Fuller?
You know, I just want to say, you know, it's a tax. Like I say, things like this need to be brought before the public to discuss. I mean, before you, just like you were talking about doing a bill in the jail and then bring before the public, these things like it need to be brought before the public. And they may pass it. You know, because you have a lot of people that enjoy sports around here, not just baseball and softball, all kinds of sport. And that's one way, you know, like that way, you know, that's how we can fund it if we do a tax. I did the one in Minden, I mean, beautiful facility. And there, passed by tax, and it's employing people and different things. I mean, DeSoto Parish, we're able to do that as well. So that's my take on Mr. Holmes, do a tax. Get the people to do a tax on it.
I'll make a motion to get the administrator to do some research on a millage, a parish-wide millage, to be able to fund the sports complex and give it to a vote to the public.
Need a second.
I second that.
Mr. Fuller, second.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
I'd like to discuss that then. Personally, you know, I'm not for a millage tax at all. We brought up here a few months ago about a sales tax, and we put that before the voters. I'd rather see a sales tax go. If that was what's gonna fund it, let's fund it with a sales tax, that everybody would pay something on it.
Change it to
And
a
we could
sales tax.
also let the people that coming in here, if they're gonna come here and spend their money, then by God, let them help build it. Because when we go to Shreveport and we buy things and we go to ball games or anything in Shreveport, Caddo Parish, we're funding their stuff. We're funding their projects. Every time we spend $1 in Caddo Parish, we're funding their projects. Let them, if they're gonna come down here and they're gonna enjoy themselves and they're gonna spend all the money that Ms. Miller says they're gonna spend and anybody else talks about they're gonna spend, then by God, let them pay for it. Let them help us. There's no reason for our taxpayers to have the burden on their back for everything.
Yep.
I agree with you on that, Mr. I changed that second. Did you make the motion?
Change it.
No, I can't make a motion. I'm not on the
I'm sorry,
committee.
procedurally, I think Mr. Latham wants to amend his motion.
Yeah,
He's saying he wants to amend it. You might wanna
amend
vote
it to
on
a sales tax.
We-
I second that.
The last sales tax we brought up before the public, it was only 1/4 of a penny. And that was gonna be enough to fund things such as this, and our animal shelter, and other things that we needed. But a lot of people were against it. A lot of our jurors were against it.
I will too.
Yep.
They were against it, you know?
But
But-
you know the difference gonna be, Mr. Holmes?
No, I don't know the
Thi-
difference.
This actually gonna be for the people. It's a
Well, that
difference,
was
'cause
for the people.
I have did a little research. I've asked people before I even brought it back to y'all. I've gotten out here in the community, put it out there. I bet you I get it passed.
I would like to say one other thing. If we do a sales tax, I'd like to get the legislature to okay to have it in Mansfield also. The last one we couldn't implement in the town of Mansfield because they're already maxed out. But they should be included. Everybody in the parish should be included if it's gonna go over. And let everybody vote on it and include Mansfield also. But we'd have to go to the legislature and get them to okay to go above the limit on the local sales tax.
Oh, I thought y'all wanted Mansfield left out of it the last time. Ain't that
No, I didn't want Mansfield left out the last time, but,
Y'all wanted
but it was just gonna
Mansfield
take
left out.
time to go before the legislature and get that done.
Go ahead.
Wouldn't that be a feasibility study? Because you have to include what it would cost to operate it and all of that. So would that be a feasibility study rather than just saying the cost of building it?
Yep.
The last time we did a feasibility study, the jury spent $1 million and did nothing with it.
Okay. But it's almost impossible to
We
build
put it-
something of this magnitude.
Sales tax,
Especially
build the
looking at-
account, and then we got the money, we can build it.
Not looking at operation of it.
It's for the administrator to explore his options and come up with a sales tax to fund the sports complex.
Oh,
I don't wanna do a feasibility study. We spend millions of dollars and it's gone for a feasibility study. Million. I don't wanna do that again. If
put
we're gonna
that
do
one
something,
down.
we need to do it.
put that one down.
Mr. Jones, I can, and an administrator may know, but I believe that Ruston, Minden, and Baton Rouge all pass similar taxes. So he may be able to gain information from them about not only the construction costs, but some idea of the ongoing costs, and you can factor all that into once you make a prediction about how much the, revenue would be anticipated. So I know, I
okay.
think all three of those
Yeah.
places have similar, approaches on funding their
So let me-
recreation.
Let me
Okay.
ask this, what if we, let the administrator see which one would be most feasible? Whether it's the sales tax or the property tax?
Property tax may not pass.
Property ain't gonna pay.
Property tax not gonna pass.
You ain't gonna pay that property.
Sales tax.
No, Stonewall ain't voting for no property tax.
No, no,
That-
property tax not
that
gonna
show
pass.
now, I know that's right.
a couple of weeks ago.
How much is that? I ain't gonna vote for it.
Well, they ain't going for the property tax.
So, okay,
I ain't
I
either.
got you.
So, my understanding, the motion now is to let the administrator look at all the options as to the tax for a sports complex and to include the city of Mansfield. If we have to go to the legislature, get their approval for the city of Mansfield to be part of this tax, since they will enjoy if it passed, they would be getting the enjoyment out of it like everybody else.
Oh, yeah, I need-
Everybody understand what we're voting on
Yeah,
there?
that's the motion.
Okay.
I need Mansfield to help get it paid.
Get that on the board?
Okay, so y'all could authorize the administrator to research a sales tax, including city of Mansfield, for developing a sports complex at the industrial park. Good enough?
Sound about
That's
right?
good enough.
Sound
That's
good.
good enough. He'll get the gist of it.
We'll fix it at, regular meeting.
Mr. Fuller?
Second, you did.
All right.
Do you wanna narrow it down to that specific location, or do you wanna leave it open for,
Leave it open.
I mean, I
I
wouldn't
would
put it down
put
to industrial park.
recreational.
Just developing a sports complex.
The plans are drawn at the industrial park.
The plan's done at the industrial, why we gonna, but you keep on,
Wanna
I
open up
know
and-
why you trying to move, but I told you I ain't going for it. I know what you trying to do.
Limit yourself.
You wanna,
I know what he trying to do.
We own that property.
Please vote now.
don't open up no more cans, man.
Yeah, cause he y'all here. Trying to look out for, I know what he trying to do.
Motion passed. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Policies and procedures, Mr. Clark.
Call to order. Call for any additions and deletions. Guest and public comments. Item number 1, update the policy handbook for the holiday schedule.
So move.
I thought we did that.
Motion for Mr. Jones, need a second for discussion?
See,
So, yeah, we just did this, but this is since we passed last meeting to let everybody off on every holiday. We added 2 more holidays to the list to give us 15. And the 2 new ones that were added were Fat Tuesday and All Saints Day.
oh,
And Ms. Burrell, because of the passage of the resolution concerning all employees are supposed to be off, we had to change the language because we had language in there concerning certain departments remaining at work. So that had to be modified.
Yeah, the animal shelter and the on-call.
All right. So moved.
No more discussion, please vote.
So moved.
Motion passed. Motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Road Committee, Mr. Ernell Jones.
Road committee will come to order. Are there any additions or deletions at this time? Hearing none, are there any public comments for the road department? Hearing none, we go to item 1, authorize the road department to do installation and repair the driveway at Water Moccasin Outdoors off Highway 171. Anyone know where that's at?
Yeah, it's on the state highway, ain't it?
Right off 171.
I think we got clear, I think Mr. Norton told me that we had gotten clear from the state to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, but they also voted not to do no more state.
That's the reason it's on the agenda, for y'all to
Yeah.
approve it since it's on a state highway. You know, if it
Yeah,
was
I
on a
mean-
parish highway, we could do it without bringing it
Yeah.
before you, so that's why it's on.
That's the only thing I'm saying now. Either we gon' do state highways or we not gonna do, cause we voted not to do state highway. But every time we look up now, we doing the state highway now, cause see, I got people in my district want stuff done. I'm telling them, we can't do state highways, so I just wanna make it clear. Are we doing state highways or we not?
I say
Well-
don't do state highways.
When I did mine, I had to get permission from them. And I think this probably the same way. You have to get permission from them.
Well, it
I went
ain't-
to,
it
the
ain't gonna be
DOTD
fair if
himself.
You do it for one somebody and don't do it for everybody.
No, they gonna want to
Uh,
do it themselves.
Didn't I get a second on that?
I don't think, did we ever get a motion? Nobody ever gave a motion.
Nobody ever gave a motion, y'all talking? Can I get a motion?
I move the motion. Talk,
Motion by Mr.
discuss.
Fuller,
Second.
second by Ms. Burrell.
She's
Not
not
on the committee?
I'm on the road
Mr. Park?
committee, ain't
No.
Oh, no, okay.
Mr. Holmes, Mr. Raines,
Second is, I don't
Pete
want to do it.
Parker, Mr. Fuller.
You ain't gonna see it.
Okay, no second? Motion failed.
Good.
Item number 2, authorize the president to sign a resolution to declare certain movable property surplus to be included in the June 1st, 2024 auction, which would be old pipes, culverts, at the road department.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Fuller, second by Mr. Parker. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm hung up.
I take the time.
Put it on there. I don't do anything else.
You done?
They gonna remove the pipes and we will.
I said it died.
And what really? Oh,
See, they always explain it, you'll still remove them and put them where?
I'll stack them up on the, I'll stack them up there by the road department.
Roll call.
Computer acting up over here.
Do roll call.
We can do a roll call vote, move on. Myself, aye.
Aye.
Mr. Holmes, Mr. Raines,
Aye. Parker,
Mr. Parker, Mr. Raines.
he's not here.
He's not here. Oh, he's not?
Mr. Fuller?
Mr. Fuller. Motion passes. So I can't see past Mr. Holmes. Mr. Parker, I can't see past Mr. Parker. Item 3, authorize the process of closing abandoned Bice Road.
Move, discuss.
Motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Holmes.
Where Vice Road at?
Any discussion?
Where Vice Road at?
I think that goes through, Swepco property over there,
Down where they did all the
Dolet Hills.
stuff. It just crosses their property, Swepco and Clico.
Yeah, go ahead, tell him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Mr. Wright's in the
we were approached by SWEPCO that owns, you can see on your map on the second page there. Bice Road currently does not exist except for the very southern portion that you see in green on the very bottom of that map. The Doley Hills Mining Company, of course, obliterated that road back in the 80s. And that's, under the current agreements, they have to put it back in place. SWEPCO, which owns the mine, owns that property through there. They asked that the property that they're gonna remain to own, you see a portion of it owned by Neighbors Timber Company, and then the yellow section at the very top of the page is owned by SWEPCO. They asked that we not place the road, that we abandon the road permanently in that area, and therefore they won't have to reconstruct it through that area. So Bice Road will continue to the north and dead end at the SWEPCO property right there. Currently, there's no road that exists there. SWEPCO, the mining company will build everything that you see in red to provide access for neighbors, but then it'll dead end at the SWEPCO property. That's what, in the 80s, we voted, the jury voted to close the road, but this is moving forward with the abandonment process. I think we'll have to have some public hearings and things like that moving forward, but this is just getting the jury's okay to move forward with that process.
Mr. Parker?
It ain't no cemetery down there out that road, huh?
There's, in the Doley Hills area, there's some cemeteries, but I do not believe there's any, to my knowledge, there's none off of this road. That are adjacent to this road. But
I have a question. Has
Mr. Parker had asked.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I'm just asking the question, since nobody lives on this road.
No.
It's not a road there at all, actually.
No.
And they're gonna have to build what used to be a road.
Right.
And it's going to the neighbor's property.
Right, the portion in red goes through mostly neighbor's property.
So basically, what we're fixing to do is, we're gonna take in a road that we'll have to maintain for deer hunters.
I think we're closing. I think Mrs. Simpson had the question, Mr. Fuller.
Oh, okay, well, listening to Mr. Parker, I just visualized, so that was my question. So there, it's just a field, or just like a?
Trees.
Trees?
Yes, ma'am, mostly pine forest is what it's been reestablished as.
So so who we're accommodating, like Mr. Parker says, someone, hunt?
Well, just to give a little bit more context to where this is coming from, prior to the mining activities, these roads existed. And basically it was agreed that they would reestablish them after the mining ceased, and that's the process we're in now. There's been 2, maybe 3 roads to date that they've rebuilt and we've taken back into the system, or in the process of taking back into the system. And this would be another road that was on that list for them to reestablish, rebuild, and then hand back over to us. And just this portion in yellow, they're asking, since, we own that property, we do not wish for the road to be established through our property. They're asking for it to be permanently abandoned.
So, legally, once someone dedicates a road, it's always your road unless you go through the abandonment process and find that there's no public purpose for the road. So even though it doesn't exist as a road, as long as it was once dedicated as a road, it always exists until you abandon it, if you find there's no public purpose for the road.
Mr. Fuller?
Does it stop anybody from getting to their property if they abandon this road or close the road?
And it's all owned by one owner. SWEPCO own that entire tract that's the road's being abandoned through. Just the portion of yellow is being abandoned.
Just the yellow part, yeah.
I think that's Double Church Road to the north that you see in the green. That'll connect to. So that portion from Double Church Road to the red will be abandoned. The rest of it will still be in place.
See, that's what I'm concerned about.
So
So-
go ahead.
I just wanna make sure these people gonna have access to get to those cemeteries. Cause I do know it's cemetery, old Zion Hill Church Cemetery down there for one thing. And,
There is a cemetery site on that Double Church Road that you can access to. Myself and Philip made a trip down there, and that was my intent to see, by eliminating this road, are we handicapping ourselves as a parish? And upon my investigation, there was, there's currently no development, there's currently no use of the roads other than logging timber.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Holmes?
the roads have been out of service for what, 10 years?
I think it was the 80s we voted,
Yeah.
mid-80s we voted to close
So
it.
it's been out all this time. there must not be a cemetery there now, or they wouldn't have been able to abandon it to begin with.
Oh, yeah, it's a cemetery and a big one too, 'cause a lot of my people buried at it.
I'm talking through this property here. I'm not talking up there on the other road. I'm talking down
I
through this
just wanna
property.
make sure
Like I said,
you can
this
get
is
there.
just the jury voting to move forward with the abandonment process. There'll be public hearings and there'll be more investigations. And then I have to research the process for full abandonment, but I'm sure we'll have to meet again on this as well. But this is the jury voting to move forward with the abandonment process, to have those hearings and so forth.
This
Road
road
wasn't
wasn't
abandoned.
abandoned.
We didn't abandon this road back when, in the eighties, when they took it, went to mine.
Who now you still could get to them cemetery 'cause people was, taking flowers and stuff down. I just wanna make sure they still can get to.
Okay, any more open discussion? Any other questions?
Can you do that? Can you go down there and see, make sure them people gonna be able to access them, that old church and cemetery?
Yes, ma'am. You currently, right now, can go access the church and cemetery, the one that's right there at the corner of that Double Church Road. I went down there just the other day. You can access it currently. And I said,
But
this
you
road,
saw that cemetery, right? In that church, that old church?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I know of all of them, but I know of one particular that I did see that was current, that you have access to now. But, this road, you'd have to have a four-wheeler to travel through this country right now. It's not accessible by vehicle.
Can we defer this to next month till we find out everything? 'Cause,
Well, this here really, this is just move the process along. There's still gonna be some other discussion, like Mr. Stone said, there has to be a public hearing. This here just start the process.
Still got the regular meeting, still got 2 weeks to do
Right,
it.
still have to go through the regular meeting.
Because
They just move it forward.
If it's an old burial site back there, they gonna have to be.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Got some in my district I'd like to abandon.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, item 4. Authorize the president to sign a resolution accepting ownership of whatever rights the state of Louisiana, through the Department of Transportation and Development, may own, with the exception of any and all mineral rights, and up to the following described property, and agrees to accept all future rights, obligations, and liabilities, including but not limited to all future operations, maintenance, and repairs associated therewithin, for its operation and maintenance as a parish road, Park Road.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Holmes,
Second.
second by Mr. Fuller. Any discussion?
Come on up here and explain this. I'm not on committee, but I need to hear it.
This is the first step in rebuilding Park Road. The industrial park, last year we were discussing Brazil Road. Brazil Road fell apart, and now we're back on track to just elevate the roadway and rebuild the bridge structure on Park Road. And this would be taking that, currently, the property that Park Road sits on is owned by DOT. This is a document transferring those rights to us, so we have ownership of that road and can start with construction as soon as we finish the design work. There'll be some other small fragments of property that we'll have to talk with some additional landowners, but this will be the large majority of the land associated with that road.
Any other discussion? Any other question?
Park Road services at CNC Oil Field, Bulldog, and SWEPCO actually just bought a facility in that industrial park. It's at the
Industrial
relay
park,
station.
up
It's
at
the
the
relay
relay
station.
station.
It's at
Is-
175
Oh, okay,
Appleton.
yeah, okay.
Is that the little area that
got
floods?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's state?
It's a long
There's
story.
been a lot of contestation, who's gonna maintain the road, but yes, it is owned by the state.
Oh,
It is state property.
Long before me.
Yeah.
Okay, any other question?
On a good day, you can see it, on a bad day.
Hearing none, please vote.
Let's send it to the whole jury.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, the final item, approve the E911 naming of Jen Lot Private Lane off of Highway 5 in Grand Canyon.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Parker. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Holmes, second by Mr. Parker. We are adjourned.
Insurance Committee, Mr. Latham.
Okay. The Insurance Committee call to order. Any additions or deletions? Guest and public comments? We got Joe Hernandez from LPL.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so, based on the packet you have in front of you, what was provided?
State your name for the record.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Joe Hernandez, HPL Benefits. We're the insurance broker for the police jury.
Thank
you. So what we are proposing is transitioning the police jury to a self-funded health plan effective July 1st. This is a firm proposal, so if signed by, I believe it was the 17th of this month, the proposal holds firm until July 1st. There's no need for any updated claims. There's no more look backs, anything like that. The thing to note about a self-funded plan is Blue Cross is going to tell you as the administrator how much money they think you're going to spend and then how much you're going to have to spend before they reinsure your losses. So you have an expected and you have a maximum. They are predicting or projecting that your expected claims are going to come in 31% below what you're currently paying United Healthcare on a fully insured plan. The maximum that you're going to have to spend is 20% below what you're currently paying United Healthcare. Our recommendation, typically you would fund to expected, but because it's significantly lower than what you're paying United Healthcare, we're going to recommend that you fund to the maximum. And the hope there is that at this time next year, you're sitting on a significant surplus that you can decide, do you want to reduce the cost to your employees even further? Do you want to, enhance the benefits that are offered? But you're paying claims as they're incurred. So right now you're paying, United Healthcare assumes full liability. If your claims are low one month, they are to the good. If you go over, they offset the difference. But on a self-funded health plan, you pay fixed costs monthly and then you only pay claims as incurred. So that's the recommendation, is to fund to the maximum. If you look at the plan details going down the page, the specific deductible is $100,000. What that means is that the police jury is responsible for the first $100,000 of claims on each individual on the plan. If an individual incurs over $100,000 in claims, the reinsurance carrier assumes all liability for the rest of the plan year. So that's the most you could be out per individual. The policy benefit, the lifetime specific benefit, is unlimited. So what that means is after the 100, if you have an employee that incurs $1 million claim, there's no cap on the specific reimbursement amount. The reinsurance carrier will assume all of the losses. The coverage claims basis, this is a very important piece of a self-funded health plan, is the contract term for the stop loss policy. First year, you're going to do what's called a 12-12 policy. That means claims incurred in the first 12 months have to be paid in that same 12 months. Claims are never paid the month they're incurred. They're always paid 2 to 3 months down the road. So what you will do this time next year is we'll propose changing the contract to what's called a 24-12, and that means claims incurred in year 1 and year 2 will be paid in the second year. The important thing to note about that is because there's no run-out protection built into this first-year policy, self-funding has to be a multi-year agreement. It's not a one-year thing. You get in it, we don't like it, we're going to go back. You as a jury have to agree to the best of your ability that you stick with the self-funded arrangement. I would tell you at a minimum 3 years. It's not a mature contract the first year. It's a first-year contract. So you've got to get in there. The new carrier has to see what the claims are like. It has to see the health of the group. And so in the first year, that's the kind of contract that you're buying. Eligible claims expenses. So this stop-loss policy assumes all medical and prescription claims. It doesn't carve out the pharmacy. It covers pharmacy claims as well. The maximum claims cost. So what they do is they look at what they think your claims are going to be for the year. They put a 25% buffer on that. It's called a risk corridor, and that's what they're insuring. So to make it conversation's sake, they're going to say, okay, we anticipate your claims at $1 million. We're going to insure you after you've spent $1.25 million in claims. So there's a buffer there. If you were to hit that buffer amount, then they will assume the claims liability up to $1 million. That's called an aggregate claim where you exceed your maximum. It's not impossible, but it is very unlikely. And that's the reason for the 25% buffer. So if you incur over 125% of your expected, they will assume up to $1 million of claims. Your total claims liability maximum claims is 1.58 million. So I don't see any possible way that you incur more than $1 million in a 12-month period. But that's the way an aggregate stop-loss policy functions. So with your expected cost, you're looking at about $2.2 million of total expected cost. Your maximum is $2.58 million. There are some savings that come on a self-funded plan. Some of these are first-year savings. So if you look at the bottom right, the potential savings, the first one is a claims lag. And like I said a second ago, you don't pay claims in the month they're incurred. So if we transition to self-funded plan July 1st, you're not really going to pay any claims in July on the self-funded plan because the United fully insured contract is going to pay claims in July because that contract assumes any claim that was incurred during the policy period. So you have a claims lag of roughly 100% of claims incurred in July, and then that goes 80% the second month, 60% the third month. That's estimated $400,000 of claims lag that becomes the responsibility of United Healthcare after you've transitioned to a self-funded plan. So those are considered savings on your part. The second savings is a prescription rebate. So this is the perk of a self-funded health plan. All brand name specialty drugs, the drugs you see commercials for that are high dollar, those drugs all have rebates attached to them. On a fully insured arrangement, the carrier keeps those rebates as profit. On a self-funded plan, the plan themselves recoups those rebates. Based on your claim spend, there's a few different calculations to estimate that. We project $100,000 a year in pharmacy rebates back to the group, and that's based on prior year pharmacy spend for the group. The third savings is an administrative credit from Blue Cross. So what Blue Cross is going to do is when you sign the agreement to hire Blue Cross as your administrator, in an effort to get you to stay with them for a minimum of 3 years, they're going to pay you $22,000 as an administrative fee credit. That's renewable every 3 years, but basically they'll give you $22,000. If in the next 3 years you decide you don't want to stay with Blue Cross and you want to change administrators, they'll prorate that back to Blue Cross. So if you leave after a year, you pay them back 2/3. If you leave after 2 years, you pay them back 2/3. So the total potential savings in year one is $522,000. The pharmacy rebate is a recurring savings. The things to note, what's been voiced to me as being the most important to relay to you all is your employees are not going to know that they're on a self-funded plan. So Blue Cross will use basically a template of a fully insured contract, and the employee won't know any difference. It's just like whether we were going fully insured with Blue Cross or self-funded with Blue Cross, to the employees, everything functions exactly the same. What's called the accumulator credits, so that's the money you pay towards your deductible and towards your out-of-pockets. Because we're doing a mid-year plan change, Blue Cross will accept those credits from United Healthcare. So if you've already hit your deductible for the year, you will get credit on the Blue Cross policy for that deductible through the end of the calendar year. The policy is a July to June policy year, but for the purposes of deductibles and out-of-pockets, they reset on a calendar year basis. The plan design, basically, it's going to be the same plan design you have now with United Healthcare. You may see a few tweaks to, a copay that's $35 now, maybe $40 with Blue Cross. We could mirror it exactly. We're going to recommend in year one to take what's called a shelved plan, and that's a plan that Blue Cross has already designed, and it's going to mirror the current United plan, I would say, within 97%. Nobody's really going to notice a difference, but that's the best way to do it. That's the quickest implementation, is to do it that way, and so that's our recommendation there. The other thing, so this policy, because we're coming from United Healthcare to Blue Cross, there's limited claims data available. And because of that, Blue Cross has identified 3 individuals on the group that are potential high-risk claimants. And what they've done is they've put a laser on those individuals. And what a laser is it increases the specific deductible amount on those 3 people. Now, some people will say you don't want to have a laser, and the alternative is you go back to Blue Cross and you say, we don't want any lasers. Well, the additional risk is $330,000 between those 3 people. There's a good chance you'll never hit the laser. So if you tell Blue Cross you don't want it, they're going to build $330,000 into the rates, and you're going to pay the laser. So the way we're budgeting this with the maximum and the potential savings, you have the funds there to cover the laser and still come out ahead at the end of the year. So the recommendation is to assume the 3 lasers in the hopes that you don't end up incurring them. The renewal policy next year for the stop loss has 2 provisions in it. It has a no new laser policy, so they will not add any new lasers for any new claimants that come on throughout the year. Those 3 lasers can be renewed if they still pose a risk to the plan. If they don't, either they get better or they're no longer a part of the group. Those 3 lasers go away, and then no new lasers will be put on the plan at renewal. Also, the stop loss policy has a 50% rate cap. So they cannot give you more than a 50% renewal on the stop loss reinsurance at this time next year. Now, 50% sounds like a lot, but the stop loss policy is maybe about 10% of the total cost. So it's not a huge expense next year. They may increase your expected and maximum claims liability, and that will be reflected in the rates. But the stop loss policy will be capped at 50% for next year. Accelerated reimbursement, as noted there, is included. What that does is that helps protect your cash flow, and it's no more than 1/12 of your maximum liability will have to be paid out in claims throughout the year. So if you incur $1 million claim, or you incur a substantial amount of claims throughout the year, they're going to take your maximum liability, divide it by 12, and that's the most you pay in a month. And then they just play catch up every month until they've been made whole. But the stop loss carrier assumes that liability for you. Retirees, that's an important thing to note, and your plan right now currently only covers retirees up to age 65. It will continue to function in that way, but they have to note that if you were to ever carry a retiree past age 65 on this medical plan, the stop loss policy does not insure that risk, and that would become a 100% risk on the jury. So that's no change there, but I just wanted that to be noted. Claims administrator is Blue Cross of Louisiana. The pharmacy benefit manager is Express Scripts. That's currently who manages all the pharmacy claims for Blue Cross. So it's an integrated solution. And then the network is the Blue Cross Group Care National PPO network. So any Blue Cross provider in the country is considered in network for the purposes of this policy. And that is exactly the same way a fully insured contract would work with Blue Cross. HM Life is the stop loss carrier, so Blue Cross farms out their stop loss coverage to other carriers. They are a preferred carrier, and what that means is if Blue Cross pays the claim as it's approved under their contract, the reinsurer will reimburse them for that claim. You can get in a situation where if you go outside and shop a separate stop loss carrier that's not preferred with Blue Cross, you could find yourselves in a situation where Blue Cross pays the claim, and then the reinsurer does not reimburse the claim, and then because you technically own the plan, you would be responsible for that. So that is a good protection, and that is included in this policy. Then the other, and it's noted in your vote here tonight that a trust has to be established, and we'll assist Lily with getting all that done. The other thing is the PCORI fee. That's a fee that's enacted by the Affordable Care Act. It's a minimal amount. It's about $800 a year, but self-funded plans are responsible for paying that themselves, whereas fully insured policies, the carrier pays that. So that's noted there. Claims are paid weekly, so there's a weekly claims draw that comes out of the trust account. Within 48 hours before the draw, Lily will be notified by email, hey, we're going to draft this much out of the claims account, and then you have to ensure that the money is there. Pharmacy claims are paid monthly, and then administrative costs are paid monthly as well.
Current deductibles,
I'm sorry?
deductibles for the employees.
That all carries over. Yes, yeah. So, like I said, any deductible, any out-of-pocket expenses currently met from January to July 1st will be transferred to Blue Cross within 30 days, so everybody has credit for that. Kansas City Life is your ancillary carrier for your dental and your life and your disability. They have agreed to amend the renewal date to July 1st to match the Blue Cross. That way we have one open enrollment. They've agreed to hold all the rates and to reset all of the rate holds that have been in place over the last few years. They will amend those to July 1st. So most of those policies have a multi-year rate hold where they will not change the rate, and they've agreed to do that.
All right. Well,
I threw a lot at you, but if anybody has any questions.
please stay here. We'll probably need you in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Any other guests or public comments? All right, with none. Insurance item number 1, accept the proposal for self-insured authorizing the finance department to set up a trust bank account and a trust fund per proposal requirements, and authorize the jury to assess a management fee for entities under the DPPJ health insurance umbrella.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Trina, second. Any questions?
Do we need to select which plan that we want, the 80/20, 75/25, or?
Yeah, so currently, the way it's budgeted now, we're paying 81.19 because we're carrying over that
Increase.
increase from the employees. You know, I recommend as a government entity that we continue the 80/20 split. You know, I feel like it was changed during a decrease last time, so it was easily missed, but now we got to, I think we have an opportunity to move it back to 80/20, so I would recommend 80/20. Then it would be up to you guys if you agree or not.
Adding it to a motion?
Well, yes. We'll also need to discuss a fee that I asked Lillian to prepare, because we do administrative work for the waterworks, the library, the child support, and the tourism are under our plan, and the jury does all of the admin work. So I feel like they're getting free service from us, so we should. And I asked Lillian to compute a reasonable fee to what she thought. So if you.
Yes, and I asked Joe's opinion too, and we both agree anywhere between 300 to 500. I would suggest 500 monthly admin fee that will be divided by a percentage with those entities, because not every entity has the same employees. So whatever that average percentage would be, but essentially it'd be $500 a month.
Okay. So we need to add to
It's
the
not per entity, you're gonna divide that amongst.
Correct. Correct.
average based on
On an
employees.
average based on how many members there is.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
How does that? Let's see. So
Y'all need me to put, assess a management fee of
$500 aggregate per employee.
No,
No,
Right.
monthly.
No, per entity,
no,
No.
it's aggregate to be prorated among,
rated among the
Yeah.
to be
entities.
prorated among the entities.
Right.
identified.
And I will say monthly, Carrie.
So now the motion reads, accept the proposal of a self-insured plan 80/20, authorizing the finance department to set up a trust bank account and trust funds per proposal requirements, and authorize a jury to assess a monthly management fee of $500 aggregate to a prorated among entities under the DeSoto Parish Police Jury Health Insurance umbrella. Questions?
That was the motion, and then there's a second on that now?
Same people, I guess,
As
Clark
amended?
and Simpson.
Yes.
Okay. Clark made the motion, Ms. Simpson made the second. Any questions? Hearing none, vote. Missing one more, what is that? Ms. Jerry?
I'm on that committee.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All approved, say aye.
Zoning and Economic Development Committee, Mr. Jones.
Zoning and Economic Development, come to order. Are there any additions and deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, item D, zoning committee items, discuss and take action regarding zoning.
I'll make a motion that we defer this to a workshop to be discussed by itself in a meeting, so we can take the time that we need to discuss this.
It's pretty, it's pretty elaborate. Pretty,
Yeah,
it's a lot to it.
we ain't got enough time. This needs to be
Right.
in a workshop by itself to discuss this.
Okay, got a motion to defer. Gotta get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Holmes, that we defer this until we have I guess, a workshop.
How
Discuss-
soon will
How
the
soon?
workshop be?
So we, as soon as
Whenever you
possible.
want.
Yeah, whenever you want.
It don't matter to me.
It gonna be your call?
It's Ernell's
Yeah.
call.
Any other discussion? Please vote on the deferred to workshop. And let me say how this, I don't know, many years ago, it's probably my first term. You remember, don't you, Mr. Baker?
I remember.
Somebody in my district, right behind the DeSoto High School, someone wanted to put a graveyard there on their property. Well, the neighbors didn't like that. When they found out that he was putting a graveyard there, they came to me and wanted me to stop it. But we had no laws. We had no zoning laws to prevent that. And so since then, this has been discussed and bringing up. The first thing, they went to the state to complain about it, but the first thing they asked them was, what type of zoning laws do your parish have? And so being none, we didn't have anything. He was able to put the graveyard right in his neighborhood, where all these people had to pass by it every day. And I don't know, zoning laws, whatever we come up with, if we come up with any, it don't have to address that, but there are a lot of things that go along with the zoning, laws. But anyway,
I mean, yeah, 'cause right now you
Please.
can put a chemical plant right next door to you.
I just sat
And
on
ain't
the grape
nothing
yard
we can
next to
do
me.
about it.
They're quiet, they don't make a mess.
except on
Always kept
Halloween,
up real nice, got pretty flowers.
except on Halloween.
Oh, God,
Please vote.
What you gonna gripe about?
Mr. Fuller, you the last vote.
In fact, as my dad would say, people just die to get
That's right.
You voted, Mr. Fuller?
I done heard it 2 times, 3 now.
I don't want no anything this way me myself.
What's your vote? What do you vote? How do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, motion passes to defer.
Call
Motion to adjourn.
My name wasn't on the list.
Motion by Mr. Fuller. Do I second it? We adjourn.
We'll move into the special meeting. I'll call the special meeting to order. We'll move down to additions and deletions to the special meeting. There's one, same one we did earlier, authorize the president to sign a resolution authorizing the commitment of funds for 24-25 LCDBG application. I need a motion to.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Jimmy Holmes, second by Ernell Jones. Roll call vote. Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
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 Aye. Ms. Brown.
Oh, aye.
Added, that'd be item number 3. New business, recommends authorizing the president to sign a resolution to declare certain movable property surplus to be included in the June 1st, 2024 auction. Old pipes, culverts.
So move.
Have a motion by Mr. Fuller. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Parker or Mr. Jones?
Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker? Any further discussion?
Yeah, where we moving them to?
We're selling them at an auction.
Oh, okay. I just wanna make sure.
Y'all please vote now. Motion passes. Item number 2, recommends accepting the proposal for self-insured. I really need your motion you did earlier. Needs to be the same motion that we passed through insurance.
Yes, sir. I'm scared to go back because it got hung up a while ago when I went back, so I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna add it in here. What's wrong with that?
I need a motion, I need somebody to make a motion in second.
I make the motion.
Mr.
Second.
Who seconds it?
Me.
Ms. Barrett. And this is the same motion we just passed through the insurance committee.
Yeah.
Here she has it up there. Any further discussion? If not, y'all please vote now.
She said you.
You mashing.
Motion passes. The last one is to authorize the president to sign a resolution authorizing the commitment of funds for 24-25 LCDBG application.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fuller, second by Ms. Burrell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote now. Motion passes. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I hear a motion by several pieces. Second, so we're gone.
Second by itself.
Thank y'all.